Cool. All right. Welcome to Lean Coffee Session, Agility Academy sponsored Lean Coffee Session. So if you go to the board, what you need to do, you just need to click on this plus sign, and then you can just type, okay, let me put something like business agility. If I want to know something about it, or another topic, which is, uh, how to scale agile beyond IT teams, something like that. You can just pop up that topic, just click on icon, and then this topic will appear. Now if you want to, what will happen once we have all those topics created here, next thing will be voting. So everyone will have 3 votes to cast. Whichever card has got maximum votes will be starting discussion about that card. uh, will not spend more than 10 or 8 minutes on one particular card, assuming that we want to cover at least 6 to 7 cards. And once we are done with the discussion, that card will be moved to discussed column. So that's how Lean Coffee Session works. So agenda is purely driven by the participants. It's a community based event wherein rather than one person talking or driving agenda based on what he or she want to do, it's driven by all participants. With this, now what I suggest, uh, let's spend a couple of minutes. I'll start timer to pop up topics here on the board, and once topics are there, we'll get started. So we'll have 2 minutes to pop up topic, and then we'll get going. Let me start timer. Before that, is there anyone who is not able to access this link? All good? If you are able
Yeah.
to access link, just give thumbs up.
Yep, I can get in, Sandeep. Zubair.
Cool. All right, so let me start timer. So topic can be anything to do with your day-to-day life. If you are facing any challenges in your working space with regard to agile adoption, or you are not sure where to start your journey in the agile space, you can pop up that topic as well. All right, that's 2 minutes. Anything else anyone want to add? No. Okay, so I'm not sure whether we want to do voting. Usually we do voting, yeah, just to prioritize things when you have got too many cards, right? If we don't have too many cards, then I reckon we should be able to go through all those things. Uh, Part two, senior agile leadership in agile. Okay, one more topic. So let's start with this one. So I'll start timer. We'll
Yeah.
have 4 minutes to discuss this, and then after that, we'll just use we'll just do check-in to understand whether we want to continue discussion. Yes, can someone elaborate on this card?
So basically, what I have worked on this on in two phases. So initially, it was physical hardware to cloud, and now from one internal cloud to AWS. So what what actually is the best methodology which suits for these migration projects? Because there is a lot of dependency on external factors like your cloud platform, and if there are backend systems, so in a bank there are a lot of backend systems, so there is dependency on that. So and there is a lot of dependency on getting the connectivity in place. So in these cases, what we have observed is that we are building the solution to make it and enable it on that platform, cloud platform.
Mhm.
But when we actually start testing it, then we come across different sorts of problems. Or some of the functionalities that we are using, they are not even supported by that cloud infrastructure.
Yeah.
So in those cases, it blocks or tends to block some major piece of functionality for us. That's what we have observed. So in this case, we can't stay blocked for so long on that functionality, and a lot of other things which are planned for the future for other
Mhm.
applications or same application, they also get impacted. So it all messes up with the overall Scrum plan as well as the overall migration journey or doing for getting through the milestones. So that's what I wanted to understand what would work best in this case. Yeah.
Okay. So just to rephrase, the challenge which we are discussing here is that you are working on a project wherein a lot of things are unknown. Sometimes once you commence work, new information might emerge. As a result of that, you
Yeah.
might be blocked, won't be able to proceed
Yeah.
ahead. Now, in such scenarios, how you can achieve best outcome without getting stuck in particular agile framework like Scrum, wherein you define goal upfront, and then expectation is
Yeah.
that you can't change goal once
Yeah.
speed kicks in, right? Now, as a
Correct.
result of such scenarios where a lot of information is emerging, your sprint goal itself sometimes can become too stretch to achieve,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
it can also become redundant based on the outcomes. Cool. I have got my few thoughts about such scenarios. Anyone want to talk about this? Anyone has experienced something similar?
Yeah, Sandeep, probably Pawan here, so I can give my 2 cents out here.
Mhm.
Um, the best way to adopt in this case where the upfront objective is not clear, Kanban is something which can be adopted where there would be a continuous flow of work, and you're not especially restricted that in next 1 week or two, the objective needs to be met until unless you have clarity on the requirements, so it won't progress further. So in these scenarios, I think Kanban will given a good hand.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good one. Probably you just need to go beyond Scrum and explore different ways through which you can still achieve those outcomes without getting stuck in framework. Anyone else? Thanks, Pawan, for sharing that.
I would probably go to an extent of all these frameworks bring, there are pluses and minuses depending on where you're applying them, right? So, I mean, we shouldn't shy away from making it a hybrid as well, depending on the need of the hour.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard of Scrumban as well, which is nothing but a hybrid of Scrum and Kanban, where you're still iterating, but you're, also adapting to the situation where you're not actually sitting blocked, worried that, you might not be meeting your commitments, but, at the same time, you're leaving that slack within your plan that, you will adapt based on what you learn as you progress. Um,
Correct.
so yeah, again, I'm getting that sometimes people equate agile equals to Scrum and full stop.
Yeah,
You know,
that's really good point. I think,
Yeah.
and
and
then it
there's a lot
becomes
of
a mandate,
confusion.
right? Yeah, that if you're agile, you have to do Scrum. There's no other way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I am aware of multiple methodologies and frameworks. The only what you can say across the organization, the driving factor is we have to use Scrum. So and it is difficult to convince them to move away. So that's why I'm trying to what you can say, consolidate as much points as possible, because some things actually don't work in some case scenarios. So that is something I want to highlight to them in a maximum number of points that I can collect.
You're not alone, Prasad.
Prasad,
Thanks.
are you able to
Yeah.
see my screen, like full delivery life cycles, discipline agile?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is something which you can share with your senior stakeholders or agile coach, whoever is driving those changes and saying that Scrum is only way to go when it comes to agility.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
this is accessible to everyone. I will share details, but what it talks about, so discipline agile toolkit, and I know few of you are on the journey in the discipline agile. In fact, Niranjan has done discipline agile senior Scrum master course recently with me. uh, so what it talks about is fit for the purpose, what Zubair and Pawan was saying, that based on the problem, based on the context, you should take different approach. And when we talk about
Correct.
different agile delivery approach, what we are saying is that rather than just picking up Scrum as the only way through which you are able to deliver things, you need to explore different life cycles. So in this discipline agile delivery toolkit, you have got 3 plus 3 6 life cycles. And when we talk about 6 life cycle, first one is all Scrum based project life cycle, which is usually referred whenever people talk about agile, where expectation at the end of every sprint or iteration you deliver something tangible and you are able to define your scope upfront. uh, Another one is a Kanban, which Pawan briefly touched base, saying that if work is going to change on day-to-day basis, you can't finalize what can be done or need to be done in a 2 weeks time. You do that prioritization on daily basis and pick up next item which is ready or which makes sense. Uh, Another one is you can, in fact, have combination of multiple things. So this one is exploratory, is where you are running experiments. And I reckon when you are migrating code from legacy platform onto cloud, you don't know certain things whether they will work or not. You need to do a lot of spikes. You are working in an unknown territory. So in such scenarios, there is another life cycle called lean startup life cycle or exploratory life cycle, wherein what you will do, you'll just write a hypothesis. You'll write an experiment saying that, okay, we want to understand whether this type of code can be moved onto cloud platform and will it work as it is, or is AWS right cloud solution, or do we need to look at Google Cloud or something else. So you'll write an experiment, and that even if you follow sprint cadence, your sprint goal will be to validate that experiment. An experiment result might be, you want to continue on that path, or you want to stop working on that path, or you want to twist certain things based on new findings and then come up with next experiment, something like that. So I reckon if you are working in an environment when things are changing, there's not a lot of predictability or availability of things, how things will are going to work. Then you can use this lean startup life cycle, where you'll just build hypothesis, build experiment. You will run those experiments, and based on the outcome, you will decide what to be done. So even if you are not able to, let's say, deploy code in particular environment, and you come across that, okay, it happened because XYZ reason, that itself, that experiment is successful. You know what not to do in future, right?
Correct.
So you can
Right.
just rule out that
Mm.
plan. And if you have got a
Yeah.
4 experiments, based on that outcome, you might jump from one experiment to the third one, and just
Mm.
cancel second experiment, something like that.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I had also put a card there, Sandeep, for discussion.
Yeah.
It's I think it's on the same line. The theme there being migration to cloud. So I'd like to just share my thoughts on this. So I have been involved recently in a initiative for moving an application to cloud. I think we talked about this the other day, Sandeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are also in a proof of concept mode. So that's where I've mentioned that sprint goals for work like application migration to cloud. So our way or our approach of doing things is also similar to what Sandeep said. Although we formally we are not saying that we are taking that approach, but proof of concept is nothing but the same. So in the first sprint, although we are not doing anything like a hybrid or a Kanban approach, but overall the approach or the baseline or the perspective to take things forward is the same. First, like in the first 2 weeks, we just thought, okay, let's set up this application on a dev environment for the user, for the team. But
Mm-hmm.
then while doing that, we converted lots of unknowns to knowns. So for example, okay, we can't just set up an environment, we need to have those pipelines ready first. So
Yeah.
that was the first learning from that experiment. Second learning was, okay, we can't just do a development environment, we have to really think this further. We have to think this in terms of our different environments that the team uses. So you have the dev, you have the SITs, the UAT. So why not, instead of um, eating it all together, let's
Mm-hmm.
make it in chunks. So in the next sprint, what we decided, okay, let's get the bare bone application running on a dev environment.
Mm-hmm.
So at least deploy it in a cluster and at least have it running. So we, like the way the application is divided, it has a front end as a and a back end, which are a separate WAR files. So at least we will have the front end running first in the next sprint, and then it will just bring up the pages, right? But if you will try to log in, it will not work. Then you have the back end running up in a cluster,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So at least in the first few sprints, we stabilized our approach,
Yeah.
converted those unknowns into knowns, and identified what we need to do first. And while doing that, we also stabilized our operational model for the team. So if you remember, Sandeep, we had talked about having people from different teams work together to achieve that application migration. So
Yeah.
while doing these first two sprints, for me as a Scrum Master, it was very unsettling.
Mm.
Because the Scrum and Scrum Masters always tend to organize things, in a systematic way. But those habits also need to be broken at times.
Yeah.
So you have to have a flexible approach. Get Try to influence people join those stand-ups across different teams, and then once that cadence established, it automatically becomes a habit. So I can see from the last two sprints that first we have validated some of our learnings or hypothesis, converted some unknowns into knowns, and secondly we have got that flow within the team. So although it's not a ring fenced team, but for me, from the lens of an a cross functional team, I can see that there is a flow, although they are on separate teams, but they are aligned to that common goal now. So that's where my card was around that sprint goals for work like application migration to cloud, and how I tried to visualize it for the team. And the first two sprints are really critical to get these initial things ironed out, like what should be our first step, what is it that is most important for us to do,
Yeah.
what's our operating model. Let's try to create flow between the individuals who are committed to the team. And lastly, are there any dependencies? So for example, in the first two sprints, we identified that there was a challenge within the team that the Azure AD, we needed subject matter expertise. So things like that. Yeah, so that's how I think we can approach things. It might sound a bit unsettling first, but looking it in a perspective also helps us take things forward, as a agile practitioner or a scrum practitioner. That's how I just wanted to share, since this thing around cloud came up. So
Yeah.
that's why that's
Yeah, that's a good one. And in fact, you have to look at things in a larger context.
mm,
So if you are working in an environment where a lot of things are unknown, you need to deal with different stakeholders, multiple teams. Then not always your sprint goal or goal for coming iteration. It's something to deliver, or something
mm,
which will be released to customer and can be
mm,
used straight away.
mm,
It might be just to prove that, okay,
mm,
which path you want to follow, or which environment you want to use, or which technology stack you want to pursue. It can be
mm,
as simple as that.
mm,
And there's this, I don't know, there's this mindset that if you are following
mm,
Scrum, or if you are doing Agile, you just need to follow Scrum.
mm,
uh, there are a lot of things outside of Scrum and any framework which needs to be done. And I guess what Niranjan was referring Sometimes in some organizations, people call it as an inception workshop, discovery workshop, define workshop, problem solving workshop, or roadmap creation workshop, user story mapping workshop. There are multiple names, but what you are trying to achieve as a group, as a team, if you have got certain goal, what are those things, by applying 80-20 principles, what are those unknowns which you want to tackle right now? What are those 20% things which are going to make impact to 80% of outcomes? What is at the heart of the solution? And you might want to pick up that first, understand, gain clarity about that before you go and start commencing actual business value added functionality or story development. That reminds me that as a scrum master or as a agile coach, that's why it's essential that you are aware of multiple practices. That's why it's important that you have got knowledge of Scrum, which is of course there in the market predominantly because of Scrum is most often used. Kanban, Lean Startup. If you happen to work in a big organizations wherein 5 to 12 teams need to work together as a big program, probably Scale Agile framework. And most importantly, going back to Prasad's point, if there is a mandate in organization to follow only Scrum as a way of delivery, right? Then you need a bit of, I will say, skill in terms of emotional or social intelligence, wherein you can have those conversations with the senior stakeholders, or probably if
Yeah.
you have got a leader, you can talk with them, show them, okay, this is the challenge, this is the problem, and these are the multiple options through which we can tackle it. Only then you will be able to make changes. Again, it's a different topic. Change management and then system thinking, it's a different topic, but there are different ways through which you can do it. And that's quite crucial skill if you are working as a scrum master or agile coach in an organization wherein not everyone knows everything, or probably not everyone is on this journey at the same stage. Cool. Are we good to move this card to discuss? I have shared link to
Yeah.
Agile Delivery Lifecycle just now in chat
Yeah.
window. So feel free to go through that. And if you have got any
Thanks.
questions, you can reach out to me. So, sorry, Niranjan,
Thanks.
before I move, the sprint goals for work, like,
Yeah.
are we good to move this one
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well?
all yeah. I just had, just had to share my thoughts. Of course, if anyone has any comments or any feedback or have had
Uh,
gone through similar situation, I'll be happy
Can I
to
pick
hear.
up on the wordings you have used, Niranjan, just to understand a bit more, I guess.
Hmm?
So you were very specific about the sprint goals for work like that. So
Hmm.
is there a story you want to share behind that? were you
Yeah,
were you,
so
you
um,
cornered into coming up with a story or something?
so the way I look at sprint goals is not to crack a whip on the teams that okay, you have to achieve it, right, hard and fast. But I encourage to have those sprint goals because that aligns people with a common purpose, that keeps people on track. They keep that that is like a something nailed on the wall that you look up and take inspiration on. Okay, we have to achieve this, right? But of course we can't achieve, let's say that the goal can't be achieved fully or completely each sprint, right? But at least there is some guideline or reference. So that's where I focus to have the sprint goal summarized and visible for the team, so that will align them for a purpose and keep them motivated throughout the sprint and make them aware, okay, that's the purpose that we are working together, that's
Yeah.
the common vision for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever it is. So that's my take on having sprint goals, not to have anything defined or kind of a deadline to meet, but just that common vision statement for the team to work together.
Enforced as such, which they have to
Yeah,
act
yeah,
under pressure
yeah.
and achieve. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind
And
of the invisible guiding force, I would say, that okay, that's what we have to achieve.
and one thing need to be kept in mind, and that's what Niranjan was referring, is this goal should be easy enough for anyone to
Mm,
understand and seek direction from.
mm,
And most importantly, it should be written by the team. So you don't expect sprint goal, and that is one of the basic of Scrum. So product owner might come and say that I want XYZ thing, right? But based on the readiness of those stories or readiness of work, team might say that we can't do XYZ, probably we'll do AB and PQ, those stories. And once there is this alignment, they will say that okay, based on these stories, this is the outcome or goal we will be able to achieve. And idea is that every day, whenever you are having stand up, every day, whenever you are going to pick up new work, you want to set some boundaries and ensure that you are not deviating from the plan and just doing each and everything which is required to achieve that goal. And while doing that, sometimes probably A, B, and PQ, those four stories might be too much or too less. And in the middle of sprint, you might realize, oh, looks like to achieve that particular goal, we want to pick another story, story S or story T, and we need to drop story P. And in case of this application migration or more exploratory work, it becomes quite useful when you don't track progress with regard to specific story but the outcome or goal, because then you have got flexibility to change stories, and towards the end of the sprint still you can talk about whether we have achieved that goal based on what has been agreed, rather than just sticking with the whether all stories have been complete or is any story got changed. Cool. All right, so let's move on to the next one, path to senior agile leadership. Anyone who has written this card, anyone want to share more details?
That's my card, Sandeep. I was just curious to see if there are any people who have progressed into senior leadership roles while playing an agile coach role or a scrum master or something, and how did that come about? Any pearls of wisdom anyone wants to share?
So do you want to elaborate on definition of senior leadership, or
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know, probably under the C level or something, or general managers, that sort of thing, or chapter leads or domain chapter leads. There's a lot of terminology in the market, so
yeah.
everyone's
So
definition is
probably something similar to what Sandeep is doing, right, Sandeep? Or not?
I don't know. I know what I'm doing. I'm not saying I don't know what I'm doing, but and that probably I can talk a bit about that. So right now I'm working as a business agility coach, and it's an interesting engagement where I'm coaching vice presidents looking after Asia Pacific region, as well as group of scientists who have self-selected Kanban as a way of working, and then there is another team of business development managers. So all those senior executives or senior team members, and helping them to achieve their goals through agility. It has nothing to do with the IT, or it has nothing to do with traditional software development approach. Now, when you talk with senior leaders, or when you are playing that role, when you are talking with those executives or vice presidents, GMs, uh, you need to have more than what's there in agile landscape. And quite often, and that's what I was briefly referring when Prasad was mentioning that there's a mandate, everyone need to follow Scrum in an organization, and I was curious to know, okay, who has set that mandate? And if you go there as an agile coach, probably first thing you will do is find out by doing stakeholder mapping who is who in the zoo, and who has got maximum influence, who has got maximum interest in this agile rollout. And most importantly, you will try to build some healthy relationship with them. You will try to gain their trust before going on the journey of saying that, hey, probably you are wrong, or this is not what we need to do. Now, how you can gain that knowledge, there are different ways, and I keep on brainstorming multiple ideas with other agility academy students. uh, there are three ways. First one is that traditional way where you read a lot of books, right? There's nothing nothing I will say, there is no shortcut. If you want to get in-depth knowledge, you can go through different books, but it's time consuming, and sometimes you want to hear from other persons experience, or want to work in a community or a group and understand what has worked, what hasn't worked, because you don't want to be just bookish and just have only that theoretical knowledge. Second thing is that by if you want to move into senior agile leadership role, you might want to start with the end in mind. So have you heard about grow coaching model, right? So it is all about setting goal. What is your goal? What is reality? What are the options? And what you want to do and when. So that's a grow model. So if let's say if I'm working as a scrum master, I aspire to be senior agile coach or enterprise agile coach. Okay, and when we talk about senior or enterprise agile coaches, those people work with the executives or vice president, GMs. Now if you want to reach there, just having knowledge of agile practices is not enough. And that's when what you need knowledge about organizational change management. You need knowledge about, okay, how to tackle things when there are multiple players in the system. There is someone who is, advocating Scrum, another advocating Kanban, there's someone else who is saying DevOps is the way to go. Then how you can align them. And for that, uh, there is there are multiple paths. The best one, which right now I'm following, and probably I advocate a lot of people who have got background in safe, or who are already SPC, is that if you go beyond that, then discipline agile toolkit is really good, way forward, wherein you will understand that all those 6 life cycles, how they fit together. And even when it comes to contextualizing things, picking up certain things, how you can approach it. So they have got what is called goal based approach. So you start with, okay, what is your goal? Your goal is to form a team, right? Now if you are forming a team, what are the different decision points? Is it team where team members coming from third party vendor, if you are from the existing company, if you are coming as a contractor, where are they located? Are they geographically distributed? What kind of problem you're solving? Is it something niche, on something which needs to be explored, not predictable? So using all those things, you can actually understand what kind of ways of working you need to adopt. Now there are so many things to be explained. What I can do, I can share a few things, like few links through which you can go offline and then explore more. But if I want to quickly show you about different career path. So in case of discipline agile, they have got uh, different certifications, and it's not theoretical one, it's more focused on the practice. And expectation is that you are already agile practitioner, you are working as a Scrum master or agile coach, or agile project manager. So if I just search on discipline agile certifications.
I mean, that was essentially my question. Although I think I need to apologize. I kept it vague, I guess. I mean, I keep hearing lots of certifications like Agile Leadership or LEA for ICA, those kind of things. So I was just wondering. I mean, probably I'm just lazy to read through it. I just thought anyone's actually already done that, and followed any path. So yeah.
So this is the one, yeah. So, and I'll tell you beyond discipline agile, because I believe that if you want to learn more, you have to go a different, body of knowledges. So it all depends on how far you are in the journey, what you have experienced, explored, and then you can decide. So in this case, so as you can see, the discipline agile senior scrum master course, wherein you will be exposed, you won't be talking about agile principles and values, you won't be talking about Scrum and Kanban. You'll be talking about at a program level, portfolio level, multi-team level, how you can apply those things. So this is where you start your journey. Once you do this, if you're already, and I reckon based on the kind of questions which are asked, you are already exposed to some kind of agile environment, you have played Scrum master role or Scrum team role, so you don't need to do DSSM. You can do senior Scrum master. Once you do this, next logical step is discipline agile coach. And when in this particular course, what happens, you will be given case study, you'll be working with other participants who are who are supposed to be established coaches, and you will come up with different approaches how to tackle situation wherein, let's say, PMO is not ready for agile transformation, or you have been hired as an agile coach, and your senior stakeholder, who is your sponsor, she has got different perception of agile, and she is saying that, okay, all teams needs to follow Scrum, or all team need to follow safe. Now how do you tackle, or how do you talk with them by using discipline agile toolkit to come to conclusion that that's not the right thing to do? Based on what's happening in the team's landscape, we probably need to have different approach. So this, once you do this DSSM, next logical step is discipline agile coach. Again, even to do this, prerequisite is that you should be DSSM, only then you can do this one. If you are more interested, after doing discipline agile coach, if you are interested in exploring more about value stream mapping, you might have heard about it. If you are part of any transformation program, and you have been roped in to accelerate value delivery by making certain changes, coming up with value stream, or do value stream mapping, then this 3-day course, Discipline Agile Value Stream Consultant, it's something which is, next logical step to do. So that's from the Discipline Agile landscape. So start with Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master. Once you have done that, then do coach, then do Value Stream Consultant. I'm actually, a few of you are aware, I'm running next Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master course next month in November. So if you are interested, let me know. Few of you have already done it. Discipline Agile coach. There are a lot of people who have reached out to me saying that, Sandeep, can we have this one? It was recently launched. The next one will be in Jan, towards the end of the Jan. But before that, you need to have this Senior Scrum Master certification. So that's in Discipline Agile space. Okay. Now, if you want to go beyond that and work at an organizational leadership level, then I'm not sure whether you have been part of that enterprise agility orientation session. So I did that few weeks back. So in Enterprise Agility University, they have got something interesting wherein you explore psychological or human angle for any change, and this is where you have got multiple learning opportunities. This one is Enterprise Agility Foundation, uh, where you'll be exploring what happens when you are incorporating any change at a team level, multiple team levels, organizational level. So in this particular case, you will be looking at, okay, what are the current challenges faced in your organization, what different techniques have been used, if people are not onboarded, if you want to apply new change management tactics, which change management tactics you need to apply. So it has got 5 agility models. So mental agility, social agility, structural agility. Technical agility is nothing but classic agility approach where you pick up a framework, you go with the cadences, and then there is outcome agility. This one is suggested if you aspire to become a senior agile coach or agile coach, and you are experiencing that you are out of depth when it comes to talking with senior executives or senior leaders who are not onboarded, you want different new techniques, then I will suggest to do this one. Once you reach to conclusion that probably you want to experience or experience something beyond classic agile techniques and tools. So these three things I will suggest. So Discipline Agile Coach, Discipline Agile Value Stream Consultant, and Enterprise Agility Foundation. Uh, yeah, if you
For
are
the,
already
sorry, Sandeep, for the DA coach thing, is a senior Scrum Master certification a must, or can that be traded off with years of experience as well doing the same thing?
Unfortunately, it's must, because uh,
Mm.
different certification bodies have got different syllabus. So expectation is when you go in Discipline Agile Coach course, you are already aware of the toolkit, which is covered extensively in Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master course. You are aware of the language, you are aware of all those 6 life cycles, and then you are all set to go and experience, okay, based on scenario, which technique you need to follow, what kind of questions you are supposed to ask, or if you are supposed to create, let's say, playbook. In many organizations you might have seen that they have got their own ways of working playbook, right? In this Discipline Agile Coach course, they will teach you that how you can create different playbook based on where those teams are, by running those workshops, understanding what is improvement backlog on which they need to work. So it's different, and that's why it's essential that you should have at least Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master certification. DSSM, in order to do this, requirement is that you should be already Scrum Master, or at least got 2 to 3 years of Scrum Mastery experience or Agile experience. But for Value Stream Consultant and Agile Coach, you need to have DSSM certification. That's the mandatory thing.
Oh, thank you.
Uh, if you haven't experienced SAFe, then in that case, probably leading SAFe, you might have heard about it. That might be another learning opportunity wherein you can find out, okay, in a big organization, when you always need to work with 5 to 12 teams together, by following same cadence, same language, what can be done. So that's another thing which you can explore.
Mm.
And of course, while you will be doing all those courses or trainings, you will be coming across many books, If you really have got passion to learn more, what I will suggest that find out which book have been referred in particular chapters or sessions, and then buy those books, invest your time and money in reading those books, because at the end of day, no one will be able to cover everything in 2 day or 3 day course, right? And another thing is that stay connected in a community like this one. So usually we have got this monthly lean coffee sessions and then monthly agile leadership orientation sessions. We also got WhatsApp channel, and we are working on few more things. So just be part of the community where you can ask question that, okay, I have started working as agile coach in this area and I don't know how to approach certain things. If you are a student, usually Prasad, Niranjan and others, they keep calling me saying that, Sandeep, I just want to bounce back few ideas, what should I do? And it's not that I got answers to all questions, but definitely I bring in different perspective. And that's where role of mentor also plays important part in your journey. So reading books, doing right kind of courses, and being part of community, and last one is having a mentor who will be able to support you throughout the journey. That's the path to senior leadership in agile.
Oh, thanks, Sandeep. Sorry, I have to drop off, unfortunately, due to some family commitment. But
That's
it was
fine.
nice,
We could
nice
see your
talking to
son.
you
Say
guys.
hi from us.
Yeah, yeah. That's my commitment. So yeah.
No worries. My son is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
waiting in Melbourne. Retail shops are going to be open after 6, and he want to buy a few toys. So
There you go. Yeah, yeah. You can understand my problem then. Yeah. No, it was lovely catching up with all you guys. I look forward to being part of more of these chats.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. I reckon we have also covered more or less this topic, which I have just mentioned as an example. So if you want to go beyond IT teams, you need to have deep knowledge about different agile practices, and it comes through experience. You always need to go back to those 12 agile principles, 4 values, and find out more. Okay, how you can enforce those values, practices, principles in day-to-day life rather than just sticking to one particular framework. So that's pretty much what we have got. Is there anything else anyone want to discuss?
No.
Awesome. So, all right. So this takes us towards the end of this session. Thank you so much. Thanks, Pawan. We can't see you, but I know you are there. Uh,
Sorry, I'm there.
that's all right. So, in case if you need any guidance, we have got few learning opportunities coming. We have got Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master course running on 20th of November. I reckon, Pawan, you are already in touch.
Yeah, I would be doing that, so I got to go. So probably today or tomorrow I will register for that. So
Yeah. And then there's Enterprise Agility, the one which I have shown, foundation course. That's running on 27th and 28th of November. We have got participants based in US as well as Asia Pacific, senior leaders who are coming and joining that course. And there will be many opportunities. In December, we have got Kanban coach. So Niranjan, I reckon you were interested in that last time.
Yeah.
So in December, we are doing Kanban coach training, and we are not yet decided whether we want to do another training in DSSM training in December or not. But that's the plan. Calendar for next year will be published shortly. Discipline Agile coach will be definitely there in the first month of next year, that is in Jan. If you are DSSM, I will highly recommend to do that course. That will help you a lot to progress further. All right.
Okay.
Happy to have 10 minutes back in everyone's diary. Thank you so much, and enjoy your rest of the day and
Yeah.
weekend. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Take care.
Yes, bye.